Hey guys, this is Nat. I'm here organizing my papers from school because I'm officially on school break, which is really exciting. And just for you to have an idea, these are all the papers I used this year. And I know this is not that eco-friendly, but at school we just have to use lots of paper. But I make sure to recycle everything, and I use both sides of my notebooks, so I try to be eco-friendly, but it's really difficult to be, it's really difficult to be 100% sustainable in a society not designed for it, as Gittemary Johansen once said. She's an amazing environmentalist, and I love her YouTube channel. If you want to check it out, I'm gonna leave the link here on the description box below. So today, while I organize my papers, I wanted to discuss a few things with you guys. I think I just want to talk about what I've learned in 2025, which is a lot, so I might need a second part to this video. In January of this year, I was focusing on finishing the videos for my YouTube channel, and I was focusing on getting ready for another school year. And I guess it was a cool month for me. I just chilled and tried to finish everything. But I think what I've learned after that month passed was that I should have rested more during that school break, because I was way too focused on finishing the videos for my YouTube channel that it wasn't really like a holiday, it wasn't really like a school break, because I always had something to do. And it was January, it was like Christmas, and I felt guilty for resting because I had many videos to produce, and because I felt like I had topics from school that I needed to study. So I felt guilty for resting during my school break. For me, it came to a point where I had time to sing, and I would sing and I would write and I would dance, but I wasn't enjoying it because I was too tired to enjoy the hobbies I had. It came to a point where I think that I should have rested, I should have just stayed home and laid in bed and just slept during the time I was actually singing, so that in the next week I could sing and enjoy the singing. So first lesson learned, you should rest. It's important, not only when you're supposed to, but when you feel like it, because you deserve to rest. In my case, it's something that it took a lot of time for me to believe in it, and I still have some trouble with it, but I do things better when I'm rested. Sometimes it's better to work for 30 minutes in a day than to work for 2 hours without resting. And then in February and March, classes returned, and I remember I spent a lot of time those 2 months working on a competition for my environmental club at school. And it was a really big deal if we had won that competition, and you already know now that we didn't win. We would have gained a free trip to COP30, which just happened, and it would have won money for our project, so it would have been amazing, but we didn't win. And I put a lot of work in the application process, which was written and online, and then we had an interview, so we got to the second phase. And I think it's just really sad when you get to the second phase of stuff and then you don't get to, you don't win. You get to the second phase and you are interviewed and then you don't get in. And literally, I've gone through that so many times. Just last month, I did that again. You go to the next phase, you get interviewed, and you think you did really well, but you don't get in. But now I've just come to a point that I don't even think that I didn't do really well. Maybe it's just something went wrong in the whole connection process. Maybe they connected better with someone else. But when I get to the point of having an interview, I feel proud of myself because, man, I got an interview. I must have done something right, even if I don't get to the finalist session. But anyhow, the point is that I put a lot of work in that competition and we didn't win. And I really thought we had a good chance of winning. But it came to a point that when I saw we didn't win, I wasn't really upset because we hadn't won, because I saw that the people who had won totally deserved it, and I knew that they would use their opportunities and the cash and everything else they won with it to make a better world. So I felt okay in the sense that the prize hadn't gone to the wrong place. I knew that the people who got the prize would make a good use of it. It feels too weird to think of myself living a life where I don't try and harness my power as a young student living in Brazil who believes in the power of small actions like environmental clubs. It feels too weird to a point that I can never do that. Once I discovered I had that power, it became like simply impossible for me to go back to the point that I once was, where I couldn't harness that power. So the lesson that I learned is that whenever it comes to something bigger than you, you don't have to get credited for something to feel proud of that action. When it comes to something bigger than you, whatever good things that happens to that, it feels like it is good to you, so you feel proud of it. I don't know if it made sense, but this was a big deal for me because it kind of makes me think that whenever I don't win a competition, whether it is related to the club or something else that I apply for, I know that whoever won that competition was just as qualified and determined to win and as valuable as I was for that competition or that specific opportunity. So I feel proud of them because I know that if they won, they will make good use of that opportunity and they will honor the whole cause that we are all fighting for, which is climate action. So I guess that was the second lesson I've learned this year. And then around May, I guess, I did a really difficult presentation for my school classmates and like everybody at school. I decided to perform a song that was really difficult for me, which was the new like solo from Snow White, the movie that came out this year. And before that, I only like performed songs that were easy for me in front of my school and literally everybody else because like it's safer if you perform an easier song that you've sung so many times and that it's like you could sing it falling asleep and you don't even have to warm up your voice to sing that song. It's much easier to, I'm gonna perform that song because there are less risks that you can make a mistake and embarrass yourself and all of that. So that presentation was the first time I actively chose to take that risk and perhaps embarrass myself, which is kind of exactly what happened because I chose to perform that really difficult song and I made mistakes. Because it was a difficult song, my voice cracked and I kind of went off pitch. I don't know, everybody else said, we couldn't even notice that you made a mistake. And I was like, of course you did, I made a mistake. But then sometimes people just don't notice. And I guess that's something that's really difficult for artists to understand because when you make a mistake on stage, you notice that. And you will spend the next week like thinking about that mistake. But sometimes, honestly, people just don't notice. But still, I went out there and I did that presentation and I made mistakes in front of people who are my age. And I'm kind of a big extrovert. Like, I have no trouble talking about my feelings and about things that I believe in and the causes I fight for to everybody literally. But I think it's easier for me to speak to adults or young kids than it is to speak to people my age, because people my age, it feels like they're judging me. I feel like people my age think I'm either too innocent or weird or just like naive. I don't know. I feel like people my age don't get my point though. So I feel it's difficult for me to do anything in front of kids my age, but I kind of have to do that because there's a cause I fight for and I have to convince people my age to fight for that cause too. So, you know, something bigger than me that I have to fight for. But that was the first time I actively chose to perform a difficult song, taking the risk to make mistakes, and then like a few weeks later, I did that again with another song, and this time it was a competition, and I got second place, and I performed this really difficult song, and this time I didn't make lots of mistakes, but I made mistakes, but still I got second place. But those two times I chose to do something really difficult just to take that risk and challenge myself. So the lesson learned was that like you shouldn't not do something because of fear. There's a really good quote from a movie, I think it is like the Cinderella something with Hilary Duff, this really great movie, and it has this quote which is, never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. This quote defines perfectly what I've learned from these two experiences. So I finished organizing my papers. They're not completely organized because I still have to go through each and every one of them and decide if I want to keep them, if I want to rewrite them or anything, because these are my studying materials. It is organized in a way that they are ready for me to do that final revision, because they were so messy and all over the place. They're now at least kind of separated in subjects. It will make it easier for when I do make that whole revision final place. And for that, I'll need a lot of concentration, so I won't be recording videos when I do that. But I have done like the initial part of this work, so I've concluded it. So I guess I'll have to continue reflecting on the lessons learned in 2025 in another video, which will come out soon, because this is a reflection I need to continue. So it will come out like for sure before the New Year's, and I'm really excited about that. 2026 looks like a very promising year with a lot of cool stuff in my personal life and in the club and in school and literally everything. And I think 2025 was a really good year also. A lot of things happened and I learned a lot, which you're about to learn more in the next video. Yeah, it was a good year, and I think 2026 will be an even better one, because I will be a different person going into that year. I will be a person with more knowledge and more experience and more determined to make it a good year, and not just like let the year be good, like I'm gonna make it a good year. I'm determined to do that. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video very soon. Bye.